Hi Krishna Prabhus and Matajis, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. I'm Tangeshwari and I'll be the moderator for today. Please allow me to recite the Mangalacharan. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Ajnana-timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasme Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Uttapada Kamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Shahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Krupa Sindhubhaya Evacha Patithanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Pastyatya Desha Tarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shri Vasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Prabhus and Matajis. Today we have the pleasure of hearing the discourse from His Grace Sri Srirama-caranaravinda Das Prabhu, who's the director of ISKCON Salem and a former banker from Dubai. Without any further delay, let's welcome His Grace Sri Srirama-caranaravinda Das Prabhu to dive us into today's discourse. Hare Krishna, Your Grace, whenever you're ready.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Am I audible?
Yes, Prabhu.
Okay, thank you so much. First of all, thank you so much for inviting me, and obeisances to all the assembled Vaishnavas. And it is always my pleasure to be in the satsang of devotees and discuss some of the nectars of Bhagavad-gita and Bhagavatam. So thank you for giving me one more opportunity in this regard. Hare Krishna. Actually, today I was thinking of speaking. We have written actually Bhagavatam lecture. I was thinking of speaking from a verse in Bhagavad-gita, which is very famous. I mean, you must have heard it thousands of times. But I think it's worth hearing 1001th time, one more time of hearing the nectarian words of Krishna. And in the words of Srila Prabhupada, it makes it even more wonderful. So I would be allowed to do that. I hope it's okay with it. So the verse which I want to first read the purport and then take it forward is our famous verse, 4th chapter of Bhagavad Gita and the 8th verse. Paritranaya sadhuna vinashaya sadushkrita dharma samsthapanarthaya sambhavami yuge yuge. So the translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, founder Acharya of ISKCON. Translation. In order to deliver the pious and to annihilate the miscreants, as well as re-establish the principles of religion, I advent myself millennium after millennium. Purport. According to Bhagavad Gita, a sadhu, that's a holy man, is a man in Krishna consciousness. A person may appear to be irreligious, but if he has the qualifications of Krishna consciousness, either wholly or fully, he is to be understood to be a sadhu. And dushkrita applies to one who doesn't care for Krishna consciousness. Such miscreants or dushkritam are described as foolish and the lowest of mankind, even though they may be decorated with mundane education, whereas another person who is 100% engaged in Krishna consciousness, he has to be accepted as sadhu, even though such a person may neither be learned nor well cultured. As far as the atheistics are concerned, it is not necessary for the Supreme Lord to appear as he is to destroy them, as he did with demons Ravana and Kamsa. The Lord has many agents who are quite competent to vanquish the demons. But the Lord especially descends to appease his unalloyed devotees who are always harassed by the demoniac. The demon harasses the devotee even though the latter may happen to be his kin. Although Prahlad Maharaj was a son of Hiranyakashipu, he was nonetheless prosecuted by his father. Although Devaki, the mother of Krishna, was a sister of Kamsa, she and her husband Vasudeva were persecuted only because Krishna was to be born of them. So, Lord Krishna appeared primarily to deliver Devaki rather than to kill Kamsa, but both were performed simultaneously. Therefore, it is said that to deliver the devotee and to vanquish the demon miscreants, the Lord appears in different incarnations. In Chaitanya Charitamrita of Krishnadas Kaviraj, the following verses summarize this principle of incarnation. Shrishti Hetu He Murti Prapancha Avatare Sei Ishvara Murti Avatare Namadare Mayayita Paravyoma Savara Avastana Vishve Avatari Dare Avatara Nam. The Avatara, or the incarnation of Godhead, descends from the kingdom of God for material manifestation. And the particular form of personality of Godhead, whoso descends, is called an incarnation or an avatar. Such incarnations are situated in the spiritual world, the kingdom of God. When they descend to the material creation, they assume the name of avatara. There are various kinds of avatars, such as the Purusha avatars, Guna avatars, Leela avatars, Sakti Avesh avatars, Manvantar avatars, and the Yuga avatars, all appearing on schedule all over the universe. But Lord Krishna is the primeval Lord, the fountainhead of all avatars. Lord Sri Krishna descends for this specific purpose of mitigating the anxieties of the pure devotee who are very anxious to see him in his original Vrindavana pastimes. Therefore, the prime purpose of Krishna Avatara is to satisfy his unalloyed devotees. The Lord says that he incarnates himself in every millennium. This indicates that he incarnates also in the age of Kali. As stated in Bhagavatam, the incarnation on age of Kali is Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who spread the worship of Krishna by the Sankirtana movement, congregational chanting of the holy name, and spread Krishna consciousness throughout India. He predicted that this culture of Sankirtana would be broadcast all over the world, from town to town and village to village. Lord Chaitanya, as the incarnation of Krishna, the personality of Godhead, is described secretly but not directly in the confidential parts of the revealed scriptures, such as the Upanishads, Mahabharata, Bhagavatam, etc. The devotees of Lord Krishna are much attracted by the Sankirtana movement of Lord Chaitanya. This avatara of Lord does not kill the miscreants, but delivers them by the causeless mercy of the Lord. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vikasa Swami Nitinamine Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Nitinamine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Pashyada Deshtarine Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaurabhakta Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So thank you once again and for giving this opportunity. So today, as I was saying, I was actually fortunate to have a discussion with another devotee 2 days ago regarding this verse. And there were many points which we discussed, as Krishna says in Bhagavad-gita, Tushyanticha Romanticha. So when two devotees of Krishna sit and discuss the pastimes of Krishna, it always ends up in a very heartening way. And it actually gives out a lot of pleasure for both the hearer and the speaker. So I had the good opportunity to speak about this verse, discuss about this verse a few days ago. So today morning I was thinking that Krishna is going to appear in a month from now. So why not speak the same verse that really creates, understand that why Krishna came, what is the love that Krishna has for us, and why, he comes here not for killing the miscreants. Srila Prabhupada, as we read now, writes in the Bhagavad, in the Prabhupada, that Krishna doesn't need to come to kill these miscreants, but only to display or, to forecast the love for the devotees. So in the previous verse, that is the fourth chapter, seventh verse of the same chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Krishna also talks about the increase of dharma. So the adharma increases, and it's a cycle. So adharma increases even during the Treta Yuga, even during the Dwapara Yuga, and more so in this Kali Yuga also. So when the adharma increases, it's the duty of the dharma stapana, or the person who has to maintain, or who has to actually make sure that the dharma is being established properly. So it's his duty that he has to do it. Either personally he comes, or he actually sends his representatives, or either through any of his agents of this material world. So in this verse, actually, Krishna gives three reasons. He actually gives three reasons that, why he comes. The first reason is that paritranaya sadhu. So Srila Prabhupada actually mentions here, sadhu means devotee. If somebody is a sadhu, he has to be told as a sadhu, then he has to be devotee. And he also quotes that, why people who are Krishna consciousness are the only people who are eligible to be called a sadhu. So that is what Srila Prabhupada writes here. So sometimes we also see that, in India, especially when you go to North India or even in South India also, that you will find that, many people actually adore the dress of a sadhu, or, actually live a life of a sadhu, even though both they follow the Vedic text or the Vedic context of being a sadhu, or sometimes, I would say, non-Vedic version of being a sadhu. And point in case example is the Jain sadhus. You must have all heard that the Jain sadhus are really austere people. They actually don't take 2 times in a day. They live in a very, very simple lifestyle. But, they don't follow the Vedic context here. They don't believe in God. They don't accept Krishna as a supreme personality of Godhead. But, they follow the rules. So why don't that they also could be called as sadhus? So the point here is that, the beautiful line, this has been explained by Srila Prabhupada in his purport, that what is the use of being, a sadhu and not being Krishna conscious? See, even if somebody is 100%, very, very qualified, even in materialistic education or qualification or something, and if he is not not a sadhu, or not surrendered to Krishna, then he doesn't have the right to be called as a sadhu. On the other hand, even if you are, materially very qualified or following the rules and regulations of the asterhood, and still you are not, actually understand that why we are doing it, who is the ultimate, whom we have to surrender, and why we have to surrender to him, then what is the use of being a sadhu? And even if that person who is surrendered to Krishna is having some flaws, still he has to be considered to be sadhu. Apichet sudurachar bhajate ma mananyaba sadhureva samartavya samyak vyavastito hi saha. This is what Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita. So the point is that apichet sudurachar, even though the person is actually, not 100% perfect. Apichet sudurachar, he has no durachara, sudurachara. Durachara means, achara means act, good act. Durachara means very, very indecent act. And sudurachara, very, very indecent act. And what Abhijit Sudurachara, bhajate ma mananyaba. So even if he is not there, but he has surrendered to me, he is worshipping me, and he wants to serve me, he has to be considered, considered to be as a devotee. Why it is so? The question which must be asked, why it is so? Why there is always a partiality? You all might ask a question that, Krishna says that, samoham sarva bhuteshu na dvesho asti na priyaha. No, I am not, having any, I'm always neutral to everybody. I don't favor anybody. I'm always neutral. Samoham sarva bhuteshu. For every living entity, I'm a neutral person. In spite of telling that in another place in Bhagavad Gita, he again tells here, Abhichet Sudurachara. He tells us that, even if you are not completely perfect and if you are a devotee of mine, then you are considered to be a sadhu. I will, overlook all your, disqualifications. See, the point here is, Srila Prabhupada writes in another purport in Bhagavatam, Srimad Bhagavatam, that the determination to serve Krishna itself acts as a purifying method. It itself acts as a purificatory method. And it purifies the entire person. See, so the determination to serve Krishna is very important. That, whatever comes may, I'm going to serve Krishna. Sharanagati, as we say. So if we are determined to serve Krishna, then the purification automatically happens from inside and outside. So that is exactly what the next verse of this Bhagavad Gita will talk about, 4.9. Shipram bhavati dharmatma sashvat shantim adhigachati kaunteya pratijaneti name bhakta pranashyati. So my devotee is never perished, Kaunteya Arjuna, that he will always be successful. Why he is successful? Because he has got the determination to surrender to Krishna. Come what may, I am going to be serving Krishna. Come what may, I am not going to think of any of the material attachments or material things I have in this world. And whatever being said and done, I will be completely surrendered to Krishna and serve him. So that actually makes him the purified soul. So the point is, so the second reason which is told in this verse, first is actually to paritranaya sadhuna. And what he does, the second reason for coming here is that he comes to uplift such people. He comes to uplift such people. So people who are devotees, who are, just wanted to surrender to Krishna, but do not have that requisite determination to, surrender to him. And it's Krishna's mercy that he comes to even uplift them. And that is exactly the reason why Srila Prabhupada writes in the same purport about the avatara of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He writes that, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to uplift all of us. In fact, you all will be agreeing with me that today on a Sunday, morning, I don't know, here it's 8 o'clock in India, and there it might be around 10:30, if I'm right. On a Sunday morning, why we should all sit across and discuss about Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam? If Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has not come, if Chaitanya Mahaprabhu didn't come, or Chaitanya Mahaprabhu didn't send his, qualified representative of Srila Prabhupada, what you and me must have been doing on the Sunday morning? Think about it. We all would have, slept late on the Saturday night, roaming here and there, or, Sunday morning, sit in a coach, watch some TV, watch a movie, or go around, eat outside, go to an eatery. All the same kind of activities what a normal human being who is attached to this material world would have done. But what? Because of the gloriousness of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu who appeared here in Bengal 500 years ago, and the qualified representative Srila Prabhupada, today we have got the taste. We have got some inclination to hear about Krishna, to think about Krishna, to serve about Krishna. So the point here is Krishna also comes to uplift such souls who are, or who are struggling in this material world, And, the point again here comes is dushkriti. That's what I was telling. All the activities which we would have done if you would have not come to Krishna can be defined as dushkriti. So dushkriti means what? All the activities which are not at all, appreciable activities. So that is the thing that, Krishna comes to uplift such devotees. And, again in the purport, Srila Prabhupada writes here that, to kill people like Kamsa and Ravana, Hiranyakashipu, that, Krishna does not need to come. Even today we can see that, the recently 2-3 years ago, we had this COVID breakout. What happened in the COVID, when the COVID came in 2020, 2021? The whole world, even the so-called famous biologist, scientist, the medical professionalist, All these people tried their very best to find out a solution to solve the problem. For years and years, it didn't go. It was not that easy. Scores and scores of people were dying like, a pack of cards, they were falling down. So if Krishna wants to finish somebody, he doesn't need to come. Even the material world is, Durga herself or her agents or herself enough to, finish off these creates, the miscreants. So the point is that, he doesn't need to come. There was this question which was asked recently that, you are saying that there are some dushkritis, there are some people who are miscreants, and Krishna has to come to, finish off them. And even the question was asked that, Krishna himself killed his uncle. How can that not be called dushkriti? See, today in this world, even killing somebody is a dushkriti. See, it's a bad act. You will be punished by the state of law. And, even the people will not accept you. So if, the killing somebody is considered to be a very bad act, and killing your own relative, who is your own uncle, how can that not be called a dushkriti? You are saying that the most noble person, Krishna, comes to kill all these miscreants. And he himself is doing this kind of, a very, very abominable act. So this, who asked this question actually? Any of you know? In the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, the same question was asked by Jarasandha. The Jarasandha asked this question to Krishna before he is being killed. That, oh Krishna, you are showing yourself to be a very noble person, and you are come here to actually make sure that everybody lives in a dharmic way. But man, you yourself did a very, very abominable act of killing your own uncle. So how you are going to answer that? See, actually, Krishna doesn't need to answer these kind of questions. He is, the dharmam tu sakshat Bhagavad-gita. Bhagavatam says that, the dharma is defined by Krishna. Dharma is set by Krishna. Dharma is actually set, ordained for the devotees by Krishna. So if that is the case, if somebody has to ask that, if that is called dushkriti of killing your own uncle, the uncle himself killed 8 of his own nephews. How are you going to actually, address that? The man killed actually newborn nephews of his own sister, Kamsa, killed 8 of his own nephews. How is that going to be good? So the point here is that, if we are going to keep on arguing who has done the most abominable act, and which abominable act is even worse on a scale of 1 to 10, that is not, that's exactly what we are, mortals would be doing. What mortals would be doing is that, we would be arguing that this is good, this is not good, that is bad, this is not bad, how bad it is. So the point here is that, we are not here to actually decide what is right, what is not right. That is all set by the Shastras, by the Puranas, by the Shruti Shastras, Shruti Smritis Puranadi, Pancharatrika Vidimbina. So what it does is that Shruti and Smritis are there, and the Acharyas have come to teach us what is the actual act, what has to be performed. So the same way, there are so many examples can be quoted that, even Rama, if you have to actually tell that Krishna is not noble, or Krishna is, actually has been but not that, very, very dharmic person. Same with Rama also, Maryada Purushottam. Rama actually, killed women in the forest. How can you actually kill a woman? According to Shastras, women, children, and old people have to be protected, and they should never be attacked at any point. So the point is, the normal rules apply for peaceful times. That always we know that, the emergency times, that what apat kala, we call it apat kala. So the emergency time, the extreme activities has to be performed to make that emergency situation go away. So that is one point. Another point is also be told that what Krishna does is always right. Then the question will always be asked that if Krishna, whatever he does is right, then it becomes like might is right. See, Krishna is powerful. He is God. He is, he is the supreme personality of Godhead. So he can do anything what he likes. So whatever powerful you are, you can do anything. This what is happening in this material world, either in your place or in our place. The politicians or the people who are in power, what do? What they do is that they want to show their power. They want to show that they are in an upper pedestal. So what do? They actually, fleece the people. They exploit the people. They exploit the resources. They do corruption. So the justice is not there. Krishna is also the same thing. So the point here is that the point here is that God has to be moral. See, this is exactly what the Christians used to say. The Christians would always say that Jesus was very moral. Jesus never actually, all throughout his whatever history we have seen him in his entire life. Jesus was very moral, but your Krishna is not. Well, Krishna is not being moral at all. So how are you going to even keep him on a higher pedestal and worship him as God? The point is also has to be understood that, what is morality? Oh, this is very, very important topic, that what is morality? The morality is, actually there is a, a story in this connection. There was a sadhu who was living, ascetic, who was living in a forest. And one of the person went and met the sadhu. And he asked him a question that, what is morality? How do we know that, this is actually moral and this is not moral? And the sadhu told him, the ascetic told him that, why don't you go into the forest for, 2 days and observe what the animal kingdom, how the animal kingdom functions. And then you come and I will answer you this question. So what he did is that, he went inside the forest. He was observing what the animals, various animals are doing. And one of the act which happened when he saw it is that there was a deer which actually got a newborn, small deer. And what happened is in the bush nearby, there was a tiger which was actually hiding. And the newborn, deer was not able to even walk. He was struggling. The mother was helping him. The mother was actually feeding him. The mother was making sure that the deer grows up. And so what happens is that, the entire thing was happening and he was observing this. And within no time, the tiger pounced on the mother, killed her, and took her for a meal. So what happened is the tiger took the entire meal has been taken, and the small deer or the baby deer was left unattended, unprotected, and completely at the hands of nature. So the tiger left off with the mother's body, mother's flesh, and the newborn deer was just crying. Newborn deer could not even do anything else. And in over a period of time, she also died. So this observation was made by this person. He came back to this ascetic and he asked him, recently I observed this. Is it not? So what he entirely told the story of what happened. So the ascetic asked this person, how do you know that this is not is it moral here? That, the tiger pouncing on the mother and killing her, and also thereby also killing the entire family. The family was unattended, and the entire small deer also, perished. So is it not, dharmic? Is it not adharmic? So the person could not answer what is dharmic, what is not, what is adharmic in the animal kingdom. Nothing is like this. The tiger's dharma is to kill other animals and eat. The dharma of the deer is to take care of the small deer. The constitutional position of the small deer is to be dependent on his mother. So all these are there. So how can you call this adharma? So, and it's also confusing. So then the ascetic told him that, if you actually observe and start, analyzing various things that happens in this material world, there will always be duality. There will always be duality. The duality is that this is right, this is wrong. This is right according to me, and this is wrong according to me. This is perfectly fine with me. This is not perfectly fine with me. So all these things, what happens is that the we will not be able to gauge them. We will not be able to actually decipher them. And that is why we need, people like Krishna to come and guide us. We need people of, sadhus to come and guide us, acharyas to come and guide us. And, the point is also that, the purport also Krishna says this, that, it's very, very difficult. Srila Prabhupada writes is that it's very, very difficult to set up the absolute principle. And, it's very difficult to understand. And, if you are going to understand, you want to understand this, then you have to surrender to him. Then everything becomes clear to us. Everything becomes, crystal clear to us. So, but this is the point which we have already, discussed, but that, what is dharma, what is not dharma. And Krishna comes to uplift the devotees. And, the other point which Srila Prabhupada writes in the purport is also that, what are the different avatars that Krishna takes? The Shakti Avesh Avatara, Yuga Avatars, Manvantara Avatars, or personally he comes himself as Krishna, as he comes this time. So the third reason, we have given two reasons now why Krishna came. And the third reason why Krishna came or Krishna comes to this thing is also given by Srila Prabhupada in his purport. What he answers is that that is the most important reason as well. That's the most important reason. That reason is that these devotees, the devotees are very, very, very anxious to see his pastimes. See, these devotees are there and they are yearning for seeing the pastimes of Krishna, yearning to see Krishna face to face, live with Krishna, play with Krishna, have various pastimes with Krishna, either as a friend, either as a neutral person, either as a mother, either as a lover. So especially in Vrindavan pastimes, we see that, Krishna is, everybody, what he does is everybody has a constitutional connection with Krishna. The boys, the Gopala boys had a constitutional connection with Krishna as friends. Arjuna had a constitutional connection with Krishna as friend. Mother Yashoda has a constitutional connection as a mother. Devaki also had a constitutional position of, getting Krishna out of her womb. So all these people had a constitutional position to serve Krishna. And they were very much eager. Devaki was very eager. Yashoda was very eager. All the Gopalas were daily thinking that when the morning sun will come out, so that I'll be able to go and play with Krishna in the forest. So all these people, are just, waiting to experience their love for Krishna. And that is very, very important and also subject matter of today's discussion as well, is that the Krishna is very, very, very eager to display his love towards us. The question is, are we actually in the same mood of, reciprocating that love to him? Are we in the same mood of reciprocating that love towards him? This proves, see, there are two things here. And a reciprocation of love can happen only between two people. I cannot have a reciprocal love with a material object. The example can be said, I have a beautiful car and I love that car very much. And what does it mean? The car, I'm loving that car because of my attachment. The car doesn't have any feelings towards us. It's a mechanical instrument. And what it does, it just, it's a mechanical instrument. It functions based on the mechanical activity that has been set for it. So the point is that it cannot reciprocate any love towards us. When we say that I love my car, it doesn't mean that the car will come and say that I love my owner. It cannot say that. So when we say that we love Krishna, which means that Krishna also loves us. And that goes on to prove that Krishna is the person. Krishna is the supreme person. And that is why Srila Prabhupada coined this term. This term was coined by Srila Prabhupada, that, supreme personality of Godhead. He coined this term, and previously it was always used that God, never a word, never a terminology was fixed to define God in three words. English is always a very funny language. Srila Prabhupada used to say that, it's very easy to, explain something in a Sanskrit language and very difficult to even explain in English. More so with some of these other languages as well. Recently, some person told me that, there is in the Chinese language, there is no terminology or there is no word called God in their language. It was very surprising to hear for me that, they are atheistic people, communist people. They don't believe in God. And that is why in their language also, they don't have a terminology called God. And our Bhagavad-gita as it is, which is being translated in Chinese language, every place where Supreme Personality of Godhead or God, the term comes, the translator has to actually explain in one or two lines to explain that that is called God. Like, he is a supreme fellow, he is the most powerful, he is the, who created us, or something like an adjectives to explain to the masses that, this is actually, what do you call it, it's term as God. So the point here is God is also a person. No, he is not a concept. See, God is not a concept. Today, that is a very important learning also. God is not a concept. God is a person. And this famous John Lennon. John Lennon was the famous Beatles. Philosopher, Beatles, or all these things. What you can say. And he used to tell that Srila Prabhupada met him, in fact. And he used to tell this, beautiful things which comes in the Leela-amrita of Srila Prabhupada, and also the recently this Shyam Sundar Prabhu, who has written this beautiful book, Chasing the Rhinos with the Swami. It's a beautiful book which actually talks about wonderful activities and pastimes of Srila Prabhupada and how they really, were gunning for the big shots. It's a beautiful book. So I recommend all of you to even read them if you have not done so. So what this John Lennon would do is that, he used to quote this, that, the God is a concept. And what he used to tell, it's a very funny term he used to say, that God is a concept by which we realize our pain, by which we realize our pain. So what he says is that whenever we are actually in pain, we realize something that, some concept is there above us. And, pain is being inflicted upon us. So this is his realization. We can say, self-realized soul. We call it self-realized soul. Everybody is a self-realized soul. Why I say that? Everybody is a self-realized soul because he himself can put any terminology like this. God is a concept, God is a pain, God is like this, God is blah, blah, blah. So everything is called self-realized soul. And, they have a huge following. Thousands and lakhs of people go and follow them just to hear these kind of nonsensical terminologies. What to do? Srila Prabhupada always used to say that, if you want to get cheated, then cheaters are there. If you want to know God, then proper people are also there. If you want to know who is God, then Bhagavad Gita as it is there. So this, the point is that, we have to also think that, God is not a concept. God is a person. It is a reality. It's a term. It's a reality. God is a reality. We cannot tell that, God is a very hypothetical term. The problem today is that we always have a view about reality that we only perceive. See, for me, my family is a reality. For me, my assets are a reality. For me, my nation is a reality. For me, my community is a reality. For me, my caste is a reality. For me, my friend is a reality. So all these are reality. Why? Because they give you some, reciprocal, what I call as a position. Or, they give you some, what I call as the assets are a reality because I'm able to use them. My community is a reality because they give me some support. My family is a reality because I'm able to enjoy my senses. So all these things are actually what happens is, these are all the reality. The point is that actually we have to have the realization to understand the reality. See, that's a beautiful concept. The realization to understand the reality. That is called self-realization. What is the realization to understand the reality? The realization is that we are spirit souls. We have to be surrendered to God. We have to, God is supreme. God is Vibhu. We are Anu. We have been created by God to surrender to Him and serve Him. So the realization is to understand the reality. If you don't get the self-realization, or if you are not surrendered, pariprashnena sevaya, upadekshanti tad jnanam jnaninas tattvadarshinaha. So if you don't surrender to a sadhu, if you don't surrender to a Krishna conscious person, if you are not going to understand what is the reality, what is realization, then what will happen is we will always be accepting the material things to be the reality and forgetting that the real reality is to surrender or a reason why for which we came here. You know, the point here is that unless we are, understanding the reality that, I'm suffering, unless I understand the reality that, everything is impermanent here, dukkhalayam asashvatam, that everything is, temporary here. And, we have to surrender to God as soon as possible. See, that's very important, as soon as possible. Today, the problem today is that, when you go and ask people that, why don't you come to temple? So they say that there is no time. I'm working hard. I have to, make sure that my son goes to college. I have to make sure that my, daughter gets married. I have to make sure that, I get a big bungalow. I have to make sure that, I have enough savings so that I can retire. All these things are impermanence, are not the reality. For time being, they might show or they might, portray themselves to be a reality that you have enough money. They have, you have enough, you have got a good marriage to your daughter, or, your son is, going through, Western education, studying in Oxford, Cambridge, or, Boston. What happens is all these are not reality because again and again and again, we are coming back to the Punarmushiko Bhava. Punarmushiko Bhava means what? Again, we are coming back to this Punarapi Maranam, Punarapi Jaranam, Jatati Shayanam. We are going to come back to this birth, death, old age, and disease. We are not going to understand the reality that Krishna is supreme. We are not going to understand the realization that, we are here to surrender to Him. So this is the most important point here that we have to understand the reality that Krishna consciousness is the only way by which we become self-realized. So the other final point which I would like to emphasize from this purport, which is not being which is actually very important to understand, is also I told earlier that's about Krishna's love. Krishna's love, is very important for us to understand that how, pleasing, or how that famous story or famous incident, which is explained in the Puranas or the Upanishads, you must have all know that there are two birds in the tree. One bird is actually eating a fruit, and the other bird is actually, watching and observing the other bird. So this is the what I call as the allegorically it is being mentioned here that the bird which is eating the fruit is the Atma, and the other bird which is actually eagerly awaiting for the other bird to turn towards him is the Paramatma. So the Paramatma is always eagerly awaiting for us, eagerly awaiting for us. He is actually very eager, more eager than us, more eager than us. Srila Prabhupada writes somewhere that, the Krishna is more eager than us to come to him. That is the beautiful thing that, we are not that much eager. Why we are not that much eager? Because we are so attached to this material world. We are not surrendered fully. The fully surrendering means that, even though we are, ihayasya harer dasya, karmana, ihayasya harer dasya, karmana nasagira, jivan muktasta uchate. See, what it says is, ihayasya harer dasya, one who is living in this material world and he has become harer dasya, Karmana manasa gira. That, his karma, his manasa and gira, words, are all only, thinking about Krishna. Hare dasya. Nikilashvya pitashtu. What he does is he is living in this material world. He is only engaging in activities like you and me. But still his mind is always fixed on the lotus feet of Krishna. He doesn't have anything to perform. He is just, externally it looks like, he is also moving around. He is also eating. He is also sleeping. He is also thinking about various things. He is also taking bath. He is also, doing all the things what you and me are doing. But the thing is that, he is completely, surrendered to Krishna. And, he doesn't have anything else other than the understanding that Krishna is a person, and Krishna has to be, we have to surrender to Krishna, and we have to be happy with this. So the concept of reciprocating love towards Krishna is very, very important, and that makes the full concept of God a complete cycle, a complete circle. See, what it does is that, what is the concept of God, as Lenin says? The concept of God is not an esoteric concept. We have to understand that Krishna is having a reciprocity towards us as a son, as a father. The thing is, that's exactly what I said. Nanda Maharaja was actually going and doing, he was the king of the herdsmen. He was going and doing his daily chores of activities from morning to evening. But always he was living to that exact verse which I quoted, that, he was only thinking of Krishna. He was not having any other thoughts except Krishna, even though he was working all his activities. He will come home, how Krishna would be fed, how Krishna would be eating, what can I do for Krishna, what is best for Krishna to do. All these things he was only thinking. Exactly like what we are doing, what we do. We don't have a reciprocal love towards Krishna, but we have reciprocal love or attachment towards our own families. We think that how my son will be fed, how a mother thinks that, a poor son, poor kid, she is just born. She is, completely dependent on me. And, I have to feed him. I have to take care of him. I have to take care of him so that he doesn't get fallen down. He doesn't get any infections. So this is Grahastha life. This is, a life. What we are thinking is our son is our center, or, family is our center. Once we actually change that and bring Krishna as the center of the family, then we come to the point of realizing the reality. Till the time we are, attached towards our family, towards our performance, towards our, amazing all our, activities, so that we live peacefully here. There is not going to be peace here at all. All of you who have joined here can quote hundreds and thousands of instances where you planned very, very nicely about certain things, and it went exactly the opposite. Many times you would have experienced this. We all plan very nicely that, we will do this, we will do that, everything will be very fine. When A happens, B I will do. When B happens, C I will do. When C happens, D I will do. We have all done this. And what happens after that? Complete, disarray. Everything falls apart. So the point is that the one of our senior sadhus of senior sannyasi from this Krishna consciousness used to say that, a biological son is an agreement. A biological son is an agreement, and, destined by the providence, and it's a temporary agreement which has a time, place, and circumstances. That's true, isn't it? That, our biological son, biological wife, biological husband, biological friend, biological boss, biological cat, our own headsman, our kingsmen, our relatives, biological, all biological is all agreements. And that agreement has been signed by us with the providence. And what we have done, both the providence has given the agreement and we have signed it. And the agreement is temporary. It all comes to a complete close when this body is finished. But we can have a permanent agreement. What is the permanent agreement? The permanent agreement is that when we actually sign an agreement with Krishna. So how to sign a permanent agreement with Krishna? That is the discussion which we have to do. The point is that we have to have a permanent agreement with Krishna that doesn't expires. That doesn't expires. So the Krishna consciousness here is that Srila Prabhupada used to say Krishna consciousness is one thing which actually creates a strong attachment towards Krishna. If you want to say that you are Krishna conscious, then one thing is that we have to have very, very strong attachment towards Krishna. That attachment should be very strong. Nowadays we have this kind of seminars. You should all have heard this. There are very many seminars which happens, workshops or whatever you call. It's been a fashion today for the married people or pre-marital people to go into these kind of workshops and seminars. How to love each other and stay united in marriage. All these kind of workshop happens. What is this called? Life coach. Life coach. Life coach, family coach, or even love coach. You don't need a coach to love. We don't need a coach to love. What we need is a coach how to surrender. So Srila Prabhupada was a surrender coach. What he did is that he actually came to make us understand how to surrender to Krishna. What we need is not a life coach. What we need is a surrender coach. We need people like Srila Prabhupada and his representatives, so that what happens is that we completely surrender to him. He came us to show that how to become completely surrendered. He was a surrender coach. Say in your country also, or even in our country here in India, 25 years ago or 50 years ago, they didn't have these kind of seminars there, how to stay together, but they lived together for years, for life actually. This is the point that, today what we have done is that because of our extreme attachment, extreme selfishness, that we are not even able to even reciprocate love towards our own family members, because there is selfish reason there. What is it in for me? What is it in for me? What will I get? If I'm getting something from you, then the relationship is very worthy. So love means selflessness. There is no separate will for a loved entity. There is no separate will that, what is it in for me? So there is no separate will for us other than Krishna's will. So the point here is that, once we are actually understand that we actually, came here that, to enjoy the beautiful pastimes of Krishna. That's what 3 reasons I gave. This verse also talks about it to conclude. One is about, it talks about, why Krishna comes to protect the sadhus. Second, he comes to annihilate the dushkritam, the miscreants. And the third thing he comes, that, he comes to actually, so that we enjoy the pastimes of Krishna. Why did he come? He came and also left a record for us. We were not fortunate enough to be in Vrindavan when Krishna came here. Or maybe we were there, we don't know. So what do we get now? That is we are relishing these pastimes. We are relishing the pastimes of Vrindavan, isn't it? Shinvanti gayanti, grinanti avikshnasha. Grinanti avikshnasha. Smaranti nandanti, tavehitam janaha. Tavehitam janaha smaranti nandanti. What he hears, he sings, he dances. Shinvanti, he sings. Ta eva pashyanti achirena tavakam. Ta eva pashyanti achirena tavakam. What it does is that achirena tavakam, immediately, not long, we don't have to wait for it. Srimad Bhagavatam says, Bhava pravaho paramam padambujam. Bhava pravaho paramam padambujam. Who says this sloka? Kunti Devi says this. That Shrinvanti Gayanti Smaranti Avikshnashaha. Smaranti Nandanti Tavehitam Janaha. Ta eva pashyanti achirena tavakam. Bhava pravaho paramam padambujam. So what we do is Nandanti, we take pleasure. And what pleasure we get by when we actually hear about him. We actually enjoy about him, enjoy his pastimes. And all the pastimes are wonderful. Mother Yashoda, see, the Krishna says that the person who is feared by the most fearful personified is fearful of Mother Yashoda, and he is crying and running. She ties him up, beats him up with a stick. We are all tied up in this material world. Deifi yesha gunamayi mamaya duratya mameva sharanam mameva prabhadyante maya metam tavadite. Guna. We are all tied up by the guna. What is the guna? The rope. So he was tied up with the same rope. The beautiful pastimes of Bilva Mangal Thakur also explains that. Bilva Mangal Thakur was a blind man. He came to Vrindavan. And one small boy was always teasing him. One small boy was always, giving him some discomfort. And this old man was, completely blind. He could not do anything. He is trying to catch him. He could not catch him. Trying to, punish him. He could not punish him. And every time this Bilva Mangal Thakur tries to catch him, this boy runs away. So Bilva Mangal Thakur says that, beautiful verse, which he says that, Krishna, you can run away from me from my hand, but you cannot run away from me from my heart. That is the level of, surrender. Krishna, you can run away, that I'm not able to catch you by hand. But, you are always in my heart. You are always in my heart, that you can never come out of my heart. So, the conclusion here is Krishna always wants us. As I told, Krishna wants us more than what you want. And there was this beautiful saying which used to be put in America during the Vietnam War, that Uncle Sam wants you. Uncle Sam wants you. Uncle Sam wants you means what? The Uncle Sam, the military wants you. Youngsters, please come and join. We have to go and fight in Vietnam. Same way we can write in our house in a big poster that Krishna wants you. We have a very personal relationship with Krishna. So the first thing what we have to know him is to surrender to him and to have this loving relationship with him. And this relationship is not in our terms. This relationship is actually exactly fully in Krishna's terms. So the point is that we surrender to Krishna. We become completely surrendered to him. And all the things which has been given, the Srila Prabhupada, as I told, is a surrender coach who came here to explain to us that how to surrender to him. And we are very, 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 very fortunate. Believe me, we are very, very, very fortunate that we have come under the ashraya of Srila Prabhupada. As I told, if Srila Prabhupada was not there, what nonsensical you have become on the Sunday morning. So we have to take use of this opportunity. And the opportunity is that Srila Prabhupada has given a beautiful schedule for us. How we have to get up early in the morning, chant our mantras, attend Mangalarati, not engaging in eating outside, engage in 4 relative principles, completely, take Krishna Prasadam only and one and only. And, that all purifies us. And by that purification, we would be able to have or experience the love for Krishna. People always ask that why by not eating outside, I am surrendered to Krishna. I, worship Krishna. I have deities at home. I do all the Naivedyas at home. I do a lot of things every day at home. It's okay from time to time, we and our family go and have a good outing outside, go to a restaurant, vegetarian restaurant, have a good food. It doesn't look very harmless. It looks harmless to us. The point is, again, it doesn't show that you are completely surrendered. It shows that, still you are attached to the senses of your tongue. Jibhado, that your tongue is controlling you. And why don't you actually cook a nice item in the house and then, offer it to Krishna and have a feast, call some devotees, have a feast, call some 2-3 families to your house, have a feast. Tushyanticha romanticha, it'd be very, very happy, very enlivening. So the point is, the rules and regulations given by Srila Prabhupada are very, very minimal. And the rules and regulations given by Srila Prabhupada are very, very helpful. So if we think that one of the rules can be little, not be followed, then, we will not be able to achieve that realization of understanding the reality. So there I will complete. And maybe we can have some few questions or any comments, any points or any protests.
Hare Krishna, Your Grace. Thank you very much for the wonderful discourse today. So we can take one or two questions from the audience in interest of time. Prabhus and Matajis, kindly unmute yourself, or if you have any questions or any questions, or alternatively, you may drop those questions in the chat box.
So, yeah.
Prabhu has two questions.
Yes.
Can read that. I can read the questions out. Hare Krishna Prabhu, why is it necessary sadhus has to be Krishna conscious? What we call those who are austere but not Krishna conscious. Thank you, Prabhu. From a devotee.
Yeah, this is what I was addressing in the start of my discussion here. That Srila Prabhupada writes this very clearly. That a person who is austere, who is following very many rules and regulations that are being Vedic, but when he is not surrendered to Krishna, then what happens is that what is the reason for which he is being austere? See, the question will be asked is that okay, I'm austere. I have adored this saffron adore, and what I'm doing is I'm actually completely not attached to the family. I've become completely a sannyasi, a mendicant. But what is the reason for which you became a mendicant? The reason for which you became a mendicant is that you don't know what is your final goal of life. So when the final goal of life is not being understood, the final goal of life is we are spirit souls, we have to be surrendered to Krishna, we have to surrender to Krishna, and Krishna is supreme, then all our activity of being austere becomes completely useless. Bhagavatam says, Shramahi eva kevalam. Shramahi eva kevalam. In Tamil we call Shramam. Shramam means, it is very, unnecessary, undue activities or, extreme activities, hard work for nothing, to put you simply, hard work for nothing. Why nothing? If Krishna is not there, everything is zero. If you put Krishna in front, it becomes one followed by many zeros. So being austere without Krishna becomes useless. So that is why who is surrendered to Krishna and he does some austerity for Krishna, Krishna is pleased. And he actually reciprocates love towards us. That's the point Srila Prabhupada actually emphasized in the start of the purport.
Thank you, Prabhu. Yeah. And there's one more question. Hare Krishna Prabhu, as you said, one has to perform extreme activities in emergency times. So how can one decide his acts are lawful in favor of mankind? And how can one ensure he's making strong and correct decision at the same time? Hare Krishna.
Yes. So I was talking about the Apat Kala. The Apat Kala means emergency situation. An emergency situation that needs emergency activities. See, there are two things which have to be answered here. One, see, the point is that even our Daiva Varnashrama system, not the Varnashrama system, the Daiva Varnashrama system. The Daiva Varnashrama system is a system where which the Varnashrama activities are being ordained with Krishna at center. Krishna at the center, and everybody, including Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, and Shudras, or even the outcast people, their entire thing is only Krishna at the center. Now, the Apat Kala comes, or an extreme situation comes, or an emergency situation comes. Who is the person who is actually, who is the person who can decide that this is an Apat Kala and who can act, who can guide others to act on the Apat Kala? It's the Brahmanas. The Brahmanas, what do? They guide the entire community. What do? This is the thing. Now this is the actual situation. So what we should do, what we should not do. That is why it's actually revered. The Brahmanas are revered because for their selfless act. So same way, the second part of your question is that how can one ensure that he makes correct and strong decisions in his own life also? And that is why we have our gurus. That is why we have our spiritual master. That is why we have our senior devotees, our sadhus. They will guide us because from their experience, they have gone through the same experience. They must have understood that this is an Apat Kala. They must have understood that this is the corrective action which has to be taken now. If you are not surrendered to a senior, if you are not surrendered to your guru, if you are not surrendered to whatever they say, and if you are going to take subjective recommendations from them, then there is no point. What you will do is you become your own. So I have seen many times devotees, what do? Is they go to a sadhu, they go to a guru, and what do? Is they actually ask for what is the best thing for me. Guru Maharaj, please tell me what we have to do. And the problem is, the person is not willing to accept as it is what the Guru Maharaj said. See, Guru Maharaj knows our reality, he knows our Swabhava, he knows who we are, what is our entire status. But the problem is, are we prepared to take the entire instruction from him as it is? If you are not prepared to take his instruction as it is, then what is the point in going and asking him that what needs to be done, what is the correct decision? So the point here is, we should always think that I am fallible. I'm prone to make mistakes. And even today, I am not advanced that Krishna is able to guide me completely. Only Guru Parampara guides us. Our Guru guides us. Our senior devotees guides us. So it's very important that we work based on Guru, Sadhu, and Shastras. Then we will know what is the emergency situation, what is the right decision to be made, and that will be the perfect decision to achieve our goal. Yes.
Hare Krishna, Your Grace. Thank you very much once again from all of us, and we greatly appreciate your association today, Your Grace. Your Grace, we have a couple of announcements to be made, and we welcome Your Grace to stay on. However, if Your Grace have any other engagement, we totally understand, and you may take leave first, Your Grace.
I think somebody has raised their hand, I think. I saw some, is there some questions are coming?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Radhika here. Can I just shoot one question, sort of,
Yes.
if that's okay
Yes.
with you? Prabhu, one thing which you were talking about is for taste, we tend to eat outside, which is a point taken. But sometimes situationally also we will be forced to eat outside, right? Like your family, you may be a wife or or a daughter, or, you may be traveling with them. And it is not about the taste, you're stuck. So, so it's very conflicting our mind, right? Have we not surrendered? Obviously, we have not surrendered. At least I have not. But what I'm trying to tell you is, at least an attempt to surrender, are we failing there?
Yeah. So the point is, actually see how coincidental that, the same answer which we gave for the previous question is also the answer to your question. The answer to the previous question is about Apatkala. The answer to the previous question is about the emergency situation.
Got it.
So the point is that the mind, our mind is such a funny thing that the mind always tells us that, it's an emergency situation. Why don't we just, have a little leeway this time? From tomorrow, I'll be perfect. Why don't we have a small leeway this time that, from tomorrow we will amend it? That is the problem with our mind. The mind is always giving you, like that famous picturization which comes in Upanishads, that a traveler sitting in a hall, and then sitting in a carriage with 5 horses, taking us in 5 different directions. So the same way, what is happening is our mind is always telling us that this is an emergency situation. So the best is, it's a case-to-case basis. We have to have a goal. We have to have a goal in mind. See, I always say this. We have to have a goal in mind. The goal is that completely follow the rules and regulations. The goal is that Srila Prabhupada, what he gave, we have to follow. And the goal is that we slowly wind ourselves down. See, I always say this. We have to slowly wind ourselves down. That wind ourselves down means that, today I'm doing X, Y, Z, which is completely not, Srila Prabhupada recommended. Okay, next month, how much I have advanced?
Got it.
Or next year, how much I have advanced?
Clear.
So if you have not done what I call as a review of our life, then this apatkala will always continue. So that is why we have to have our seniors who can guide us, and also try to avoid as best as possible. Even when you're traveling, it's not that I'm boasting myself, but I want to just tell that, even before I was working in a bank in Dubai, I used to have a lot of travel. And after I got initiated, I had some travels to do. And, generally I try to avoid eating outside, to the bare minimum, buy some curd outside, cook some rice myself, and do like that. So it's always possible. But depending upon their bodily conditions, some people might have some, some bodily, like diabetes or something like that. So they need to take care. But anyway, it depends upon situation to situation.
Thank you so much, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhus and Matajis. In interest of time, we will end the question and answer session. With that, thank you very much once again, Your Grace, for your class today, and we really appreciate your association as well. And Your Grace, we have a couple of internal announcements to be made. And if Your Grace have other engagement, we understand, and Your Grace may take leave first.
Thank you so much. And I look forward to have your company in future also. And thank you so much for giving this opportunity. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Prabhus and Matajis, we have two announcements to be made. For the first one, we will now invite His Grace Vishnu Chaitanya Prabhu. Hare Krishna, Prabhu.